Our team has sold over a whopping $225 million in premium just last year alone, and over 7,000 salespeople have been paid. Whether you're a single mom, a grocery bagger, work at the junkyard, a successful doctor looking to make passive income, or an executive tired of the 9-to-5 BS, we're here to interview top producers and managers to help you accomplish your goals and dreams.
Hello, everybody. Andrew Taylor here. Thank you for joining us. We have Desiree Blas with us today.
Awesome. I'm excited to be here.
So I first heard you speak at the conference, and I was like, oh, she's an animal. And then you came in yesterday for our team lock-in.
Yes.
Can you tell everybody about that?
Yeah, so the lock-in, I honestly think getting in an environment where there are other people who are killing it will always help expedite your results. So a lot of times, like if you're working from home, we're in a virtual business, so you're either dialing on Zoom or you're dialing by yourself, and so sometimes you're just in your head. So the number one thing is to change your trajectories, to get in an environment with people who are crushing it, right? You want to be around sharks. You want to be around people who have the results that you want, and that's going to always expedite your results.
Yeah. Now, we had 300,000 in sales in 2 days.
Crazy. We blew past that because you were like, hey, let's hit 200 in 2 days. Then you're like, hey, let's hit $250,000. And then boom, 300,000. Again, getting the right people in the right room will always expedite whatever you
So this is
thought.
a free thing for people. So we're doing it again next month.
Yes.
But for agents that want to be around people selling, learn how to sell, I think we had 14 people write a policy for the first time.
Amazing.
We had one agent, her first deal was $14K on your team, I think. Or
Yeah, she's outside right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
she is?
She is. Yeah.
Tell us about what happened with that.
Yeah, it was honestly, she actually has been around the industry for a while, being someone, someone's social media person. So she was probably tired of seeing the graphics, $20,000 a month, $50,000 a month. And so she decided to take the leap of faith and to grow her business. And I think the number one thing that really helped her is she invested in herself. So that morning, and she was kind of scared to do it, I'll admit, that morning she was like, she went into the ILC, she bought whatever, I think 20 leads, spent $200.
IUL leads.
IUL leads. And called them, and one call closed. The lady didn't even give her objections, and I think it was like a $14,000 annual premium.
And that was her first deal by herself.
By herself, yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So that's what the lock-ins are for.
They are.
The energy.
Yeah, and she even said it too. She was like, there's no way that I would have been able to do that or had the courage to do that if I wasn't around other people doing it. Because she's even admitted, like, it's scary to dial for the first time. I know you've said this a lot on your previous trainings, like, you would just be like, okay, I got to dial, and you would have to trick yourself to dial. But when you force yourself in that kind of environment, you're just doing what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, and most people don't want to dial in front of people because we're all scared of what people think about us.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't want to get hung up on. I don't want to look dumb. But this forces you to go out there, dial in front of people. You get to see other people get hung up on.
Yeah.
Cussed out.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's kind of normal.
It normalizes everything.
Yeah.
I think that's what helped me the most as a brand new agent, because I was also nervous to get on Zoom. I was one of those agents that was like in the corner. I don't want to turn on my camera. I don't want to unmute. But the moment that I heard other people getting hung up on, I was like, this is just normal. It's just part of the process. And so I tell a lot of new people that come in, you want to embrace rejection. Rejection, we're in sales. You're going to get rejected. You're going to get told no more than yes. And as long as you normalize it and you tell people you set that expectation, it's okay. Like the top producers just get no's more than yeses. The top producers just get hung up on more than you. They get more objections. They get, banking objections and all those different things. So if you are experiencing that, and again, if you're feeling like you suck, you don't suck. You just got to put in more reps in because it's all a numbers game.
All a numbers game.
Yeah.
I always tell people, so I went on 10,000 appointments.
That's crazy.
And it was like every week. It didn't matter if it was Christmas or Thanksgiving week. I would just work around those dates, those single days,
right,
to continue to work, because I never wanted to lose my momentum, because when I'd lose my momentum, I'd like fall apart.
Right.
Yeah, so I would do that. But when I first started, people would tell me no, and then after I got all these reps in, I would be so confident that I would be like, hey Desiree, I'm your new agent, and we're going to save you money on your current policy or get you one that you need to take care of your family. And when you put your head on the pillow tonight, you're going to know that you're taken care of, you're covered, and your kids are taken care of. They'll be okay if you don't wake up. Does that sound okay?
I'm in.
Like the confidence was just like, and people want that confidence. They don't want you to be timid.
No.
Like people want to be guided.
Right. They like if you're confident in anything you say, obviously if it's for a good reason, they're gonna believe you, right?
Yeah.
And so I love this industry too, because honestly, sales is the highest paid occupation in America, but what vehicle are you in? I'm in a vehicle in the life insurance sector that I could truly educate and help clients, and I get paid a lot of money to do it, and I could help agents do the same thing, and there's purpose behind it. And so, like, what is the statistic? It was like 50% of Americans they have no life insurance or they're underinsured. There's so many people we could help, and if you're just like super passionate about that, you'll make a lot of money as a byproduct. So I'm stoked for this industry.
How long have you been doing this?
Over 3 years now. Yeah. So my first year I was part-time because I was still doing real estate. I was like super fascinated with real estate. But honestly, when I saw that my income as a real estate agent is predicated on a market, right? Like what happened in 2008, people were quitting and all that stuff. And you know, it's nice to help somebody buy their first home, but I think what's even more important is helping somebody during the worst moment of their life when their family member dies, and you could deliver that check to them and you could guide them through the process. So you could help a lot more people in life insurance faster than you can in real estate, because not many people could go a whole lifetime. They could go a whole lifetime not even purchasing a home, but everyone's going to die. Like this is a recession-proof career. And every time I interview someone, I have them write that down. Hey, write down recession-proof. Why is it recession-proof? Because we're all going to die. So as morbid as it sounds, we're all going to die. Anyone could be your client from 2 weeks old all the way up to age 89. And we could help all the millions of Americans who are underinsured right now. So,
yeah, that's huge. Now, but life insurance doesn't seem like a sexy occupation.
No, it doesn't sound fun, but yeah, I mean, no one ever grew up saying, "Hey, I want to be a life insurance agent." You just think of like people with briefcases and suits, and mainly men, really.
Gold watches.
Yes, kind of open up their briefcase. They talk a little slow, and you know what I mean. So, but no, we've transformed. Like Family First Life has transformed the life insurance industry for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Montserrat in here earlier.
She's a killer. Yeah.
She's 22.
Mm-hmm.
She started last March. She issued over 400,000 last year, starting in March.
Yeah.
And she has a team doing $1 million a month already.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, that's just, you would never hear about that back in the day.
No.
That would be unheard of.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people doing that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a plug and play system too. Like I tell people you don't have to come in here with like talent or charisma, because that could be, you could learn that. Yeah, I'm going to say your charisma's probably grown a little bit too. I mean, I watched a lot of your podcasts and you're like, hey, I was just this guy working at the grocery store, and like, this is just how I am. I'm level throughout the whole day. So it's definitely skills that could be developed, but we're just, again, educating people. You don't need, it's like a no-brainer sale to me. Like, hey, you love your family, you want to make sure they're financially taken care of. Cool, you need to get a policy. And you could get one as cheap as $50 a month, $30 a month, more than you spend on pizza and wings every week, or, you know, cigarettes or whatever. And so, you know, normalizing that it's okay to get coverage and help your family.
So you were out there calling, and then everyone was like, she's good.
Mm-hmm.
They're like listening to you.
Yeah.
You got your headset.
Yep. Noise canceling, and like I'm walking. I like to pace. I like to, you know, like I have a standing desk. And obviously things have evolved over time. I usually just I had like an old like laptop before when I first started, and then I made a sale, and then I invested in my business. I got an iPad, then I got an extra screen, then I got a rising desk. And so, especially if this is my career, I want to get all the right, you know, supplies to make sure I could do that. But I'm always like talking. I'm like being there. I'm talking to them as if they're like my family member, my mom, my grandma, my cousin, my aunt. Yeah.
So what has this business done for you, and what have you accomplished so far?
Wow. Financially, a lot. I don't come from like a place of money. But I would say the number one thing that's really transformed is my mindset and how I carry myself, how I hold myself, what I believe in. That's like the number one thing. I think I came in here, most people like limited mindset, broke mindset. I didn't believe in myself that much, but when you're behind a group of people, like just that our company is so amazing. We have like an amazing leader. We have you, and you're just.
And then Marissa's
yeah,
awesome.
Marissa's freaking amazing. I'll call her and she'll check me really quick. I might complain about something and she'll just give it to me. And you have to be around people who are transparent and honest with you. I don't like sugarcoating anything. I'm a very direct person, and sometimes I need to receive that feedback too. But it's completely changed my mindset and how I hold myself and carry myself. So, yeah, I would say I came in here like super. Maybe shy. I mean, I was okay talking to people, but then like I said, developing that confidence with the reps, like 1,000 or 10,000 appointments, you don't care if someone says no. You don't care if someone slams the door in your face. I mean, I remember when I started in-home, and I would get scared to go into these trailer parks, and like I'll drive into a neighborhood and I see like beware I have a gun or beware of dog, and I remember being that scared person, but I was like, okay, God rewards courage. I know the pain that I'm in right now living with my parents' house, and they were great, but I just didn't want to be there, was more than me changing. So I had to do something. And so if you like zoom out and you just take an audit of your life, like what is it that you want? And here you could build your career. You have something that you stand for. And I think naturally you'll just transform as a person.
Mm-hmm. I like that. God rewards courage.
Yes. And I think I heard that from Sean or something. And that was another thing too. My faith has grown tremendously just because when you start, you're kind of in the unknown. And you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing. And just by that, like I've developed a very close relationship with God. And that's like one of my core values is courage. So if I ever am making a decision and if I'm scared to do it, like this podcast, you're like, hey, you want to shoot a podcast? I'm like, it's kind of nerve-wracking, but sure, let's do it, right? Because I know if I'm coming against fear and I just like face it head on, something great's going to happen, right? So that's how every time I make a decision, I'm like, okay, if I'm scared to do it, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, that's
right?
so good.
Yeah.
Well, me and Montserrat were talking, and we were like, if you're scared of something and you don't do it, then it's really painful because you're just like anxious about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you just do it, you're good.
Yeah. And that was another one of my favorite sayings. It's action alleviates anxiety. So I think Hermosi said this.
So same thing.
Same thing. It's like, dude, if you're anxious, there's so many options. Just do something. Like if you do something productive, you're going to be fine. But if you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs, what you're going to...
Thinking.
Yeah, exactly. So just do.
How about overthinking?
Oh, yeah.
Especially in this industry.
Yeah. Your guys' motto was like run fast, break things.
Move fast and break things.
Yes.
We've broken everything.
Yes.
And then we have to go fix it.
Yeah. I know my learning style because if I overanalyze, I don't move. Like analysis by paralysis. So I need to be around people who just push me in. Like I can't dip my toe in the water. I won't go in. Just freaking push
Shove
me in. That's the way that I learn. And so when new people come on, I'm like, this is what you need to do. Don't think about anything else. Like get comfortable on the phones. And so, yeah, overthinking would kill you, right? So here it's just, we have the same plug and play system. Just listen to the person that brought you in. Watch podcasts. I taught myself a lot from podcasts and you're going to be fine. Don't overthink it. It's very simple.
It's funny. My mother-in-law just got her license.
Oh, I love it.
And
nice.
She's making sales. And I love that like anybody can do this now.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't matter if you, cause you can do it remote. So, and Trey Honeycutt texted me. He was like, this opportunity is way better than it's ever been today.
Right.
I'm like, that is true. So like for people who want to build a big team, now's the time.
Yep.
If you don't do it now, you are going to miss the boat. This is the next wave of the way things work.
100%.
But my mother-in-law was like, what leads should I try? And I said, don't try these specific ones because I know they suck.
Yeah.
And guess what she did?
What? She tried those
Yeah.
ones?
And then she calls me and goes, hey, none of them worked. And all the numbers were bad. And I was like, I told you don't use that lead vendor.
Wouldn't you want to listen to me anyways?
But it's just interesting. Some people have to learn that way. But if someone were to call you and go, hey, what exactly do you do? They copy you. They get to avoid all those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. That's the whole point. And I tell people whenever I interview them or if they're coming on, and I like to screen people a lot because I've hired a lot of people who fell off and you have too. But I just tell them, hey, it's super simple. Like all we do is we buy leads, which are people who requested insurance. We dial the phone. You read from a script. Like if you could read, you're fine. And then we sell insurance or we don't. And then we train. That's pretty much it. That's all we do. And you don't have to think about anything else. And just you're going to get told no more than yes. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
So what was the learning transition for you? Like how long did it take you? So Jack, you always says this. He says like, and when he started, he came from another company and they coined him the worst person to ever work there in sales. Okay?
That sucks. He's such a nice guy.
Dude, he's amazing.
Yeah.
So he comes here and we're like, okay, let's get going. But he was like he would stress about everything. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Like, the reason he would stress is because he had a son, he has a wife, and he's scared this won't work. Okay. So every week he would be like, yeah, I would doubt it. I would doubt it. I would doubt it. I would doubt it. And then he said there was this point in like 7 months in where he says he felt like he got the monkey off his back.
Yeah.
And he could just, he knew that if he did this activity, that the numbers would work out around this amount.
Right.
And he was no longer working stressed out like that.
Right.
So the question is how long did it take you to get the monkey off your back?
Man, my first year, it was kind of a mess of things. I didn't realize that. You would think I would know because I came from another sales background, but if someone would have told me, hey, Desiree, like, it's okay. You're going to get a lot more no-shows. You're going to get told no more than yes. Like, it's fine. But the way that you outbeat that is because you're a novice. We need more leads, right? You're always going to need more leads than you are going to get appointments because you're going to get no-shows. And so, like, if they just broke it down in a formula matter and it said, hey, you don't suck. You're just new. But you could always outbeat that with your activity and with, obviously, it's the law of large numbers. So making sure you have enough leads. And as you continue to put in more reps, your skill level will also increase. And then you're going to get better and better and you're going to get more confident. So it probably took me, when I realized I bought more leads and I was making more sales, I was like, oh my gosh, it's just a numbers game. So maybe my first year, but my first year I was very part-time. I was very half in, half out. And my mindset was developing at the same time. So it did take me a little bit, but that's why when new people come in, we just normalize it. Hey, you're going to suck. Like, it's okay. You're going to get told no. People are going to no-show you. Just keep going and just keep the numbers in your favor. Have more leads, book more appointments, and then you learn as you go. So the monkey off the back, maybe the first year, but I was just like going blind. I was just like, I'm just going to call people. I'll read the script. I didn't even practice the script. I was like, it sounds easier than real estate. I'm just going to do it. And I'm just like a go with the flow person. But now when people come in, it's like more calculated. I'm like, hey, you're going to suck. Like, you're going to get hung up on. People are going to scream at you on the phone, but our job is not physical. It's just mentally hard. Can you handle that? Yes. And we just set up the right expectations.
That's huge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, Marissa calls you Des.
Yes.
Is that what you go by, Des?
It's
or did she just make that up?
She just made it up, I think.
Because
Yeah.
she calls Digna Diggs.
Yeah, she does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she gave you the nickname Des. What's your team doing right now?
About 100 a month.
100K
100,
a month.
150, yeah.
And what do you do yourself?
20 to 30. I mean, with IULs now, probably going to be 40 to 50. Yeah. I just recently transitioned maybe a couple months ago into IULs.
What's your favorite lead type?
IULs, for sure.
It's the best, right?
It's the best.
Why?
It protects the client in three, like we even have this here, this puzzle piece, if you're looking at it.
I brought that up on the last one. Tell me about the puzzle piece.
Yes. Okay. So it protects you in 3 different ways, always. But what's really cool is you could customize it. So like the fad now, what everyone's seeing online is like, hey, be your own bank, tax-free retirement, all this other stuff. But for somebody who knows nothing about insurance, you get a permanent death benefit if you qualify. You get living benefits. And I say this to clients too. It's like, hey, John, here is your death benefits, the purple section. I'll break it down and I show them a little picture. And if you do not die, but something crazy happens to you, okay? Because there's a lot of people just think of life insurance as death insurance. But if you don't die and something happens, you get a heart attack, stroke, cancer, you become disabled, you can't walk around on your own, like what's going to happen? You're not going to work anymore. How are you going to provide for your family? This policy, if you qualify, you would have access to the death benefit while you're alive, unlike other products out there, okay? So one, you have a death benefit that will always be there for your wife or whoever, insert beneficiary's name. Number 2, if you don't die but some illness happens, right? I'm sure you know someone who had cancer before.
Too many people.
You have access to this too to make sure you could continue to pay your bills. And then the third thing is it's going to be growing you cash value over time, and you'll never lose money, right? The market goes, and we all know the market's going to go up and down. You'll never lose money, and you could access this tax-free without penalty. It's like you being your own bank, right? Mm-hmm. But again, it's really hard to get approved for, and then I kind of move on from there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. The 3 pieces.
Awesome. So my brother-in-law a few years ago, he had a headache, went to the doctors. Went to the ER because his headache was pounding, where he couldn't sit up.
Jeez.
They do a bunch of scans. They find out he has a tumor in his brain.
Oh.
And he's 40 years old and perfectly fine. Okay.
That is scary.
Find out he has a tumor in his brain. He has to go get surgery. They biopsy. It's cancer, which brain cancer is terrifying, right? He's got to go through surgery. Thank God he actually survived everything and is cancer free. Wow. But he has to go through chemo, radiation, and actually have it removed from his brain. Mm-hmm. If he were to have this, which is my fault, he did not have it.
Man,
right?
Yeah.
Then he could have accessed all that money.
Yeah.
So it's like you just never know. And like what would that have done for stress, the psychological,
right?
What you go through psychologically going through that. And it was crazy because this was during COVID. So no one was allowed to go in the hospital with him. He had to do all of his treatments by himself. And then the crazy thing that he said to me, which really messed me up, is he's like, dude, yeah, I was scared, but there was kids in there and they couldn't have their parents come in because of COVID. So he's like, I'm talking to kids going through the same stuff I'm going through. I'm like, yo, life is crazy. But these things can help. And like, I've heard a few stories of people where they're like, I was able to take the money and get treatment that I couldn't have gotten without the money. Yeah. And it actually helped save my life.
Yeah. Do you know how much all his medical bills were?
I don't know.
No. You should definitely ask him. That's crazy. I also have a friend who he had cancer at a young age and he had to go through chemo and radiation, and his medical benefits at his job would only cover him if he was still working. So he was undergoing treatment and still working at his job, and he worked for a school district. So you would think, people think, the state has me, my government job has my back, but he wouldn't have been able to pay for that, but he still had to work while he was undergoing treatment, like going through cancer and stuff. So it's kind of crazy. These things, like getting a policy now, this is the time to start. So, and then going off of what you just said too, because if I have new agents that come on and they might not have enough money to invest in themselves, I'd ask them, I was like, hey, what we do is really important. Is it going to be hard for you to go talk to your family and friends? And they'll say, and hey, I don't want to work with someone who doesn't believe in this product. So, and the last thing you would want is and I say this to them, for a family member to die and you didn't tell them you had a license to help them. Like the biggest thing is like regret is such a painful thing. And like them saying no is not going to hurt you. You're going to get told no from strangers. So like the least you could do is start with like just educating your family and friends. And so that's big. I'm glad your family member's alive. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, if people want to fund their business. So I was attracted to Family First Life because you could use leads. And you don't have to talk to your friends and family to stay in business.
Right.
But you still should not be a secret agent.
No.
Because you can help them.
Yeah. And when I started, I didn't have enough money for leads. So what I did do, and if I was not in this industry, I would have never known my parents didn't have any insurance. Like I would have never been educated enough to even think. I've been to a bunch of funerals and I didn't know how much they cost. And I was like, I was like in my mid-20s. And I still didn't know how much death was. So when I didn't have money for leads, I went and I made a way. And I just talked to my family. I was like, yo, Dad, do you have insurance? You don't have any insurance? Holy crap. And so what I did was I helped my dad get insurance, my mom, my grandma who was in her 70s. She had no freaking insurance. My uncles, my aunts, my cousins. And I was just like so thrilled that I was able to help them and like educate them, get them coverage. Because I was also living with my parents at the time. My dad was the primary income earner. My mom didn't work. If something happened to him, we would lose the house. And I was broke, so like I wouldn't have been able to help. And so it was just such a blessing in disguise that I didn't have enough money for leads, and it forced me to go educate and help my families. Because then I took that lump sum of money, whatever I made in commissions, and I jump-started my business with it. So do not be scared to educate your family and friends, because I would say the biggest thing is I would hate myself if I did not help that family member if they died and I was at their funeral. Just because I was like, I just have to let them know. Let them make an informed decision. Let them say, no, I don't want it. And I would sleep well at night. But the least you could do is just tell the people you love and care about. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And that can help fund you helping other people.
100%, yep.
Because now, what do most people do, though, when they start to get insurance commissions and they're like, whoa, this is nice? What do they usually do?
Take time off or go to Disneyland or
I'm going to Disneyland next week.
Yeah, you can at this point.
Yeah. But like at first they spend it, right?
Spend it, yep.
But this is if anyone's watching this, you take anything from this, reinvest it. Why?
Yes, because we have a license to print money, but your skill level that you'll develop here, your ROI will always be high. So invest in your business and you'll always earn more out of it.
Yeah. Well, we have to say not everybody can do this. And there is a turnover rate.
Yeah.
Like people quit. How many people quit on you? Like if you bring 10 people in, they get their license. How many quit?
I don't know, maybe 8, 5. I mean, now I'm pretty like thorough with my like interview process, but even if somebody comes in, I'm like, oh my gosh, that guy's going to be a killer, which I don't do anymore because actions speak louder than words. And I just learned this from like, I think it was yours or Sean's training. It was like the real interview is 2 weeks in after your license. Like what kind of action is going to follow behind what you've been saying? And I'm a very actions over words type person because I've been screwed before or because people quit. But you're right. This is not meant for people with a weak mindset who don't have thick skin. Like anyone could do this, but 96% of people quit in this industry because they can't handle sales. They don't believe in themselves. Like, and I tell people, hey, if you believe in yourself and you could invest in yourself and you believe in the product, you're going to be fine. Right? The 3 things that I tell people, these are the 3 things I'm looking for. 1, you have to have a very hard work ethic. And someone said this, I think it was you. I'm going to steal this. Bulletproof work ethic. Whoever said that. I was like, you have to have a bulletproof work ethic. Number 2, you have to have a positive attitude. We deal with so much rejection from clients. Like I don't want any complaint, like no complaining at all. No negative energy around the culture. So you always have to have a positive attitude. And then number 3, this is like my favorite thing. I would love to work with you if you're coachable. Like I want to work with someone who's coachable and teachable. If you have those 3 things, you're going to do fine. And I didn't say talent. I didn't say charisma. I didn't say social skills, like, cause we just read from a script and you just help people. But those are the 3 major things.
That's amazing. How do you identify someone who you think would do good?
I like to ask them like, hey, and I got this from Sean. This is why it's so cool to go around
everybody
trainings.
Steals everything. I stole everything from someone. They stole it from somebody.
Yeah. I like to work with people who've been through crap because it shows me that if that was the hardest thing that you've been through, you're not going to quit if someone hangs up on you on the phone. Like it's hard for me to work with somebody who cries about things because, oh, someone hung up on me. And that's normal. But I'm like, hey, this is how it's going to be. Like, do not work with me if you think you're going to quit in the next 2 weeks because you get hung up on. Like, you have to have delayed gratification here. And because it's based off your skill set, you are new. You're going to suck the first couple. Maybe you might make your first sale, but you still have a skill to develop. And that's going to take, 10,000 hours to master a skill, whatever that statistic is. And so I lay that down for people. But I really want to work with somebody who's coachable with a strong freaking mindset and who's been through crap.
So funny that you bring this up. So Sean was in here last night. We were talking and I was saying like, I think I was the underdog when I started because I didn't have anybody helping me. I was working at the grocery store, raised by a single mom. And he's like, dude, you think you were the underdog, but you were actually the favorite.
Yeah.
Because he's like, because the underdog has to learn how to survive.
Right.
And then the person that they're not, they think they're the favorite. They have everything given to them and they're set up. He's like, they don't have to learn to survive. They're actually the underdog.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, that's
mind shift right
I'm
there.
like, yo, so the underdog is the favorite.
Yeah. Because we love seeing people who've been through hard things because this is not hard. It's the person that comes in here and they're like, oh, I don't want to call people. Oh, they hung up on me. Oh, I almost got a sale and this is hard. Then I'm like, cool, go work for somebody else. Like if someone said this to me, I don't even know if they were joking, but I didn't take offense to it. But they were like, oh, you left your 9 to 5 to work 24/7. And I'm like, hell yeah, because I would much rather work 24/7 for myself than somebody else's business. So, and that's what you'll do here. You have to develop your business and yourself. And just like you're going to Disneyland, but you worked so hard for so many more years. So you and your family could be at where you're at.
We could work anywhere.
Yeah. And we don't have to work for corporate America for 30 to 40 years for some pension or like a 401k that's going to run out of money and you're going to get taxed on it. And Social Security is not paying anyone. So, you know what I mean? So it's like you could grind really, really hard here for a fraction of that time and set your family up for the rest of their life. It's just going to require just some delayed sacrifice. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. But you kind of learn that the happiness is actually the building things.
Yeah, working.
Yeah, working. And then the other thing though, like that is equally as good as the money is being around all the people.
Yes, your environment is key. There's that one statistic. It's like you are the 5 people you hang around with, which is so cool. Or like the statistic about A, B, and C players. I don't know if you've heard of that one. It's like they say if you're around an A player, like a top producer or whatever, your performance hopefully I don't butcher this, but your performance increases by 15%. If you're just around a group of people, top performers, if you're around B players or C players, your performance decreases by 30%. decrease. So I'm always very, very cognizant of like, who am I around?
Yeah.
Like, stay the hell away from, you're negative. I don't want to talk to you. Like, family members, friends, whoever, like, done. Like, I have to protect this because this business is just this, right? And so actively like going through your mindset. But yeah, being around top producers, your performance is going to increase naturally just by proxy. And then B and C players, you're like, if you notice your performance is going down, you're around the wrong people. So yeah, get around the right people.
That's so huge. That's big.
It is.
Now, do you work out early? Do you what's your schedule?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, we're in the 75 hard chat. So we're day 31 and 75 hard. My goodness. It's been it's not even a fitness challenge. If you guys aren't familiar with 75 hard, go listen to the podcast. It's more of a mental challenge, which is by nature really good for this industry that we're in because we're all about mindset. But yeah, no, I work out in the morning before I do anything else at 5 or 6 a.m. So lately we're in Vegas right now. I'm from Washington State. Before our lock-in, I was getting up at like 5.
Same.
I was like, I have to do this 45-minute workout. And then I've been walking late at night on the strip. So like Lonnie's here with me and she's local here. And that's my outdoor walk. So
that's perfect.
And
so what are you seeing out there late night on the strip? Anything interesting?
No, just cool stuff. I mean, I don't know. I'm from Washington and I don't really live in the city. So just seeing the lights and stuff, it's really cool.
Any crazy people?
No, not yet. She took me to the safe parts. So yeah, I haven't seen anything super crazy yet. But yeah, 75 hard, been doing that. That's been amazing. Again, mental challenge, meant to be inconvenient while you have a busy schedule. But yeah, I'll wake up, I'll work out, meditate, pray, and then just get after it at the office and then finish at like 7, 8 o'clock at night.
So what's meditate and pray look like? Like, is it like a time you spend 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes, something super short, and just like super intentional. Again, my faith is like a really big part of like what I do now.
Has it always been?
No, it was like me starting this career, like being at rock bottom, being super uncertain. And for whatever reason, like I grew up Catholic. So Catholicism was just like what I was forced to do. Like my grandma was like, you're going to church. Like I was around a strict household and she was like, if you don't go to church, you're grounded. So like I don't know if you guys are familiar with
like
Catholicism.
That.
Yeah, she was hardcore. Even now she's like, why are you going to a Christian church? You should go to a Catholic church. But anyways, I was forced to like go to Catholic every like mass and stuff. And it's very traditional. And then I just was not like, I knew God was there, but I wasn't like super close to God. And then in my adult life, when I was going through a lot of hard things, and part of it was this industry, because I was just so unsure. I wasn't confident in myself.
Were you scared?
Yeah, super scared. Yeah, I was just like, well, I knew I was going to do it, but I was scared of the unknown. Yeah. And then so like naturally when I would go in home, because I started off in home and I would drive super far and I was like, I don't even know if this works. And for whatever reason, during those like low points when I just was so unsure, I developed a close relationship with God and, got baptized and all that stuff. So that helped me a ton. So that meditation and praying, it's just like, being grateful. And other people, it doesn't matter what your faith is. If you start with gratitude, the rest of your day is going to be, it just take 5 minutes. There's literally studies on it. Like science, if you don't believe in God, like go look up the data. Like there's data on like starting like 5 things you're grateful for. Mm-hmm. I have a roof over my head. Like, I can walk. Yes, I could breathe.
So, Eric Thomas, one of the speakers at the conference.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I got to talk to him the other day on the phone and he was like, dude, sounds like you've been pretty successful. And I said, yeah, now now the goal is to not mess it up.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, that's actually harder than being successful in the first place. And he goes, a bunch of people that I work with, one of them was super successful, making money hand over fist, but he had a sex addiction and he ended up losing his wife and kids. So, and then he was like, and then his business, something happened in business, and then now he's back on his mom's couch.
Dang.
And he's like, and now I'm working with him to get him back.
Yeah.
But I was like, yo, that is crazy. But he made this post. I want to pull this up real quick.
Okay, I love it.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Because it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. And they say it doesn't matter how much money you make, because if you're not right here and you don't really have like some purpose behind it, you're going to lose it all.
Yeah, for sure. Let me see if I can find this, though. It's basically a dude that's driving a Ferrari, and he's looking up at a helicopter, and he's saying, I wish I had a helicopter. And then there's a person in a car next to the Ferrari that's looking at the Ferrari going, I wish I had a nicer car. And then there's a person on a bike that is looking at the person in the crappy car and he's like, I wish I had a car. Yeah. And then there's a dude at the bus stop
Yeah.
who's sitting there looking at the dude on the bike who's like, I wish I had a bike.
Yeah.
And then there's a dude in a wheelchair
Oh my
who's
gosh,
looking
yeah.
at the dude at the bus stop going, I wish I could walk. And it's
Right.
just like, I mean, it just goes back to that gratitude thing you're talking about.
Yeah, it's huge. You're going to keep chasing after things. And there's this saying, I forget what, it's actually a book. It's called The Gap and the Gain. And it talks about that. It says, you're always kind of looking for the next big thing that you forget what you gained. And if you just have that equilibrium of like, hey, I'm here now and I know I want that thing, but I'm so grateful for what the old me, versus like future self type of thing. And so it's like a little psychological book that goes
There's
over
an
that.
agent here and he's like, he gets paid a good amount of money and he was complaining that it wasn't more. And I was like, dude, when you met us, think about where you were compared to where you are now. And he goes, when I met you, I would have killed somebody to have what I have now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it's so easy
Yeah.
to take it all for granted because it's like you've come so far.
Yeah. And it's a big perspective. Like all you need to do is get around the right perspective. Like Marissa actually helped me with this when I called her the other day. And she said this and it really like stuck with me. So like being here, super grateful to be here because I used to watch your podcast crying in the car going in. I wasn't crying, but I was just like, oh my God, I used to turn on your podcast and now I'm sitting here. So hopefully I help somebody. But she said, because I have a really close relationship with her, she was like, Des, you don't want the information to be so available to you that you take it for granted. Like don't because I could call her anytime, but I'm like so in my own head trying to fix things. Like I could call her up and she could help me, but the information is so available to us that we don't want to take it for granted. So people in this office who have access to you or me calling up Marissa and stuff is just like, just remember like where you came from to where you are now and don't be afraid to ask for help, right? And never take that for granted. So that's powerful.
So if someone wanted to work with you, how could they reach you?
Instagram, TikTok, just Desiree.Blas, I think is my Instagram. You just search Desiree Blas, or my number. I don't know if I should put it up on the podcast, but
Put it up.
Yeah. Okay. My number's 253-273-4446. Text me. Yeah.
Text, and you can get in licensing. You can start, you can train them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
get
big
them
on
plugged
that.
in.
Yep.
But the weird thing is, as I said, selling life insurance isn't sexy, but it actually is.
Yeah, it's cool. You
It's
could be on the
just
beach. You just need a laptop and Wi-Fi. Go to freaking Starbucks and sell a policy. Like that's all you need. Laptop, Wi-Fi, and a phone.
Fully mobile.
Yeah, fully mobile. Like when I was talking to Montserrat, she like sold, I don't know, 8 deals and did 18,000. And she's so simple. She doesn't have a speed dialer. She has a spreadsheet and she hand dials from her phone.
saw that.
And I was just like, I tell new people, you don't have to overcomplicate it. Just dial from your freaking phone. It's super simple, right? But there are some people like, oh, I need this, I need to get that. And they overcomplicate things.
Trey just said to me the other day, he was like, you know that some of these auto contact programs are hurting the agent.
Yeah.
Because they don't work.
Right.
Like the agent doesn't work.
Yeah.
They want their system to
way out.
text the person,
Yeah.
schedule the appointment, and they just want to lay up. So
You
they're
gotta
just
go back
like,
to basics. Yeah.
sometimes you just go back to basics and it's like, whoa, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Or even like triple dialing. Like some people are scared to triple dial, but I'm like, all of this is part of a process because the faster you do that and you get hung up on, you're like developing that thick skin. So don't like try and hide with all the different systems. Like start with dial the phone, aim for 40 to 60 dials per hour, tracking your stuff, right? And you have to learn that before you start getting automations and all that.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
That's huge. Now, what is really motivating you? Like, what's your goal?
Oh, okay. Like, why do I like push
Like,
super
why are you
hard?
so motivated to do this?
I think that stems down to, core values. Like my core values, like I said, the first thing we talked about was courage. So I always want to do, courageous things or whatever. Integrity and then growth. I love growing. I love being, I love listening to podcasts, reading books. Audiobooks or whatever. I listen to a podcast a day just because, again, like what I said, you need perspective shift. But I think the biggest thing is, and I've heard this on a podcast. So everything I'm saying, I'm like duplicating from other things that I've heard. But I just don't want to go at the end of my life and like not reach my full potential. So like there are some days where I'm like, I'm like tired, but I'm like, okay, what would future me do, right? I just want to be the best version of myself that I could be to any person that I interact with, any person that I talk to. And I just, if I, at the end of my lifetime, I want God to be like, hey, that's
Good job.
Exactly what I wanted you to do. Yeah.
Does doubt ever creep in?
All the time. All the time.
And what do you do?
I think like doing things like 75 hard, just doing what you say you're going to do will have yourself trust you more, that the doubt is just blocked,
Because
right?
you know your willpower.
Exactly. And willpower is a muscle. Like you have to exercise it all the time. So when you don't want to pick up the phone and dial, you have to do the hard things. There's this really, I have to send you this podcast. Maybe you heard it, but it was with Goggins and David Goggins and Andrew Huberman, the neuroscientist. And there's like this part of your brain. It's small, but every time you do things that you do not want to do, it grows. So there's like, cause I love like logical stuff too. And like, so, but if you come across something, Andrew, and you don't want to do it, that thing shrinks.
Which is like everything good for me.
Yes, exactly. And so if you're like a science person, like listen to that podcast because it's going to force you to do hard things. But yeah, just like you're always going to have doubts. You're always going to have another naysaying voice in your head. Just freaking, I think Andy Frisella says this. He calls it the bitch voice.
Yeah.
Like shut that thing up
Yeah.
and like go. And that's why you have to do the hard things because that voice will
Shut
shrink.
it up with activity.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And I would say too, like, and you're naturally, right? We have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And you have 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts you've had the day before yesterday. So if you want to change, you have to actively, intentionally do so, right? And 80% of those thoughts are negative because we're wired as negative human beings. So if I know I wake up, I'm already like set to be negative, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to be around great people, positive people. I'm going to listen to podcasts. I'm going to shut that bitch voice up, right? And so I'm always ahead of that. Like I know I'm going to have negative. It's just naturally
Everybody has it.
We're all wired to be. And if you once you're aware of that, you could do something about it. So like it starts with awareness.
Yeah, if you're aware of it, you could be like, I don't even need to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoop. Yeah.
And I'm going to go call these people, do these things, work out.
Be around good people who believe in you, right? And like that circle of people and then fly. Like that's why I flew to Nevada because I was like, okay, cool. I need to get around top dogs. I need to get, yeah, exactly.
Even like people are always like, oh, you built this big team. Like you must have everything figured out. I'm like, dude, I still have to get around people because it's contagious. Like winning is contagious. So I want to be around other people that are winning constantly because it's making me better.
100%.
Even you coming in here. And I've asked almost everybody that's come in here what their morning routine is. And like 90% of them are like, I meditate, pray, work out in the morning.
Right.
Like 90% of them.
Yeah.
Matt Spalding has like this breathing technique that he does, which I tried, which I'm like, dude, I actually felt really good doing it.
Is it like the one you breathe through your nose and a bell goes off and you breathe out? Or,
so it's called the Wim breathing method.
Okay. I'm down to try that. See, I'm like, hey, let's.
Yeah, you breathe in 30 times, breathe in and out as hard as you can 30 times. And then on the last breath, you let all your air out and you hold your breath.
Jeez. Yeah.
So I could hold my breath for like a minute at that. But he does 3 minutes.
Because he's probably been doing it for a while.
He does it every day.
Jeez.
And then you repeat that 3 times.
And he does it, how long is that exercise total?
It's like 8 minutes. Or like
and
5 minutes.
Freaking start your day.
Maybe 8 for him because he could hold his breath longer. Like 3, like it's like 5 minutes, I think, for me.
Yeah.
But like I listen to all this stuff, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then you also hear like most people have similar doubts that they overcome, similar fears that they overcome, similar things that they overcome.
Yeah. But the thing is, you're going to have to overcome it. Like, it's going to be hard, but if you get around the right people. And I also think, too, like, don't overthink things because you need to take action. Because, like, you could come in here, you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to get overwhelmed with what breathing exercise do I do? How do I pray? How do I meditate? Just do it. Just do it. Just 5 minutes. Start with, if 5 minutes is too long, start with 3 minutes, right? Hit me up. Hey, Des, what do you pray about? Or what do you do? Or, you know what I mean? Or what breathing exercise or what podcasts do you listen to? Like, message people, ask for help. Don't just give up. So there is a lot of information, but just do it, right? There's like massive activities. What's going to get you to where you need to go, right? Because you could read all this stuff. And I think Tony Robbins says this. He's like, because people say knowledge is power, but it's like, no, knowledge is potential power because power lies within execution. Like, you will never win if you do not take action. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, like, just freaking start. Like, reach out to your manager, reach out to me, and like, just do a 1, 2, 3.
Just get your license.
Yeah, just get your freaking license. It's like such a fraction of a cost. Like, I tell people my real estate license was harder. It was more expensive. You don't have to go to a bank to get a business loan to start this business, right? You don't have to go to college and spend a bunch of student loans and like not waste, but use 4 to 6 years of your life. I know a lot of people who have college degrees, master's degrees, they don't use it. But I'm like, but you won't spend $1,000 on leads, but you went to school for 4 to 5 to 6 years. And you know what I mean?
And you don't even need an LLC.
You don't. You really don't. It's so easy, guys. And like, just get your license. Because like, if you have a heart to serve people and you want to educate people and you don't want to be working for another employer, you don't want to be labeled $15 an hour, $20 an hour, $50 an hour, you get to dictate that. Get your freaking license today, yesterday, right?
I can't believe someone said that to you. You quit your 9 to 5 so you could join.
Work 24/7. Someone said that and I was like, I was taken aback and I was like, yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way though. Like,
but that's not technically true. Like you can, you now control your schedule.
Oh, 100%. I just want to work. I want to continue to work hard. You're doing. Yeah, I love what I love it. Yeah.
So have you been able to save money?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you make money, save money, reinvest.
Yep. I have an office in Washington. I was actually thinking of, I don't know, I'm saying this out loud. I kind of want to move here, so I might go look at some homes. I don't know. I haven't bought my first home yet, but I heard the market here is, it's growing. I think I was talking to Stephen Yee. He was like, yo, my house doubled in like 2 years or something. I was like, okay, I'm going to, I might go look at some homes. So we'll see. Everything that I make, I dump back into the business.
We'd love to have you here.
Yeah, I'm excited. So, and Washington, it rains so much, but my whole family's there. But he told me he moved his whole family out here, which makes me feel great because you're from California, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that far either, but it's only a 2-hour flight. So hopefully, I mean, I'm going to manifest it, so. My
friend was like, dude, you're the best recruiter ever. You have so many people moving to Vegas. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not trying to. I'm just.
Yeah. People will follow you. Yeah, where you go?
He was like, that's why you're a good recruiter, because you're not trying to.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm throwing it out there, but.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's fun here. I'm excited.
I also do that with recruiting in the business, though. I just throw it out there.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, yeah, it is. I don't chase after people. Obviously we used to when we started, like, oh, this guy's in coursework. And now I'm like, I have zero energy to chase after people. Like, I'm looking for self-motivated people, self-starters, resourceful people. Don't ask me questions when the answer's right in front of you or you're going to like fail in this business. And I say that and you kind of like scare them away a little bit. Like, hey, only looking for hardworking people. Like, if that's new, I don't want to work with you. And at the end of my interviews too, I'll say this. I'll say, hey, Andrew, after I go through my whole spiel, I'll say, hey, so on a scale of 1 to 5, okay, 1 is like, you don't want to do insurance anymore. You're not sure about getting your license. Maybe you think I'm a little weird. You're at a 1. 5 is like, hey, let's get rocking and rolling today. I need to get licensed like as soon as possible. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 5? And if anyone says less than 5, I tell them I don't want to work with them. I only want to work with committed people. So at the end of my interviews, I only help them get the coursework if they're a 5 out of 5. And so that's how I like to screen people out. Because I'm like, if you're not committed now, you're not going to get committed later. And this is not for uncommitted people.
Yeah. That's huge. Mm-hmm. Well, I think you're a beast.
Thanks. You're a freaking beast. Like I said, I'm so grateful to be here because I would listen to these podcasts and take down notes and rewind it. And I have like YouTube Premium because it's YouTube University. I have downloaded videos that I rewatch all the time. And so if you guys think I'm on here and I'm like magical, I'm really not. We all put on our pants the same way. I'm like, I just am hungry to get better. I want to get better than I was the day before. And as long as you have that you versus you mentality, right? Because naturally people compare themselves to other people, but if you're like, you can't, you'll fail every time.
You'll never be happy.
Yeah. And I find myself doing it. So I'm not perfect. I'm like, oh, got to redirect. Got to remember where I was before and go back to gratitude, right? So thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming in. I think you're going to help a lot of people. You're a big part of this new wave of what we're doing at FFL.
I'm excited, yeah.
And we're glad to have you.
Thank you again, Andrew.
Thank you for joining. If you're watching, give Des a call and let's get you going.
Let's crush it. Let's go.